Hi, good morning, you guys. I'm going live with Amanda this morning. I'm just waiting for Amanda to join the live and then we'll get started. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, awesome. Amanda just joined, so I'm going to invite her into the live and then we'll get started. Hope you guys are doing well. I can't believe it's Saturday already. Oh, that was quick. She already requested it. Can you guys hear me okay? Hey, Amanda.
Taylor, how?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, everything's
O-
great.
Okay, awesome. I'm so happy that you're here and it's so good to see you.
This is my first Instagram live ever.
Ever in life?
Ever.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're gonna have to go live more because you're super awesome and I know you have like a great story, so definitely start using IG Live.
Yeah,
Um,
I've officially done it. I'll
so now you're gonna do it. Good. So it's so good to see you. I want to jump right in because I know we have like quite a few questions planned. To those of you out there, thank you for joining my Fueled by Faith series. Today I'm going to be chatting with Amanda, who is a holistic plant-based coach, and she is so inspiring. Like I watch everything you do online, so I was really excited that you accepted coming on my live and just talking to everyone about your story. It's amazing everything that you're doing online, and also just the love and light and joy and happiness that you bring, but also body positivity. I've seen you do a lot around just like us embracing our bodies. So I'm excited for you to be able to chat with everybody about that. Um, and so I guess we'll jump right in. Can you share with me a little bit about your childhood and how it's sort of connected to who you are today?
Well, my childhood, I came from Trinidad and Tobago as a baby. My parents brought us over here for opportunities. And, I just had a regular life. I had my brother and my sister. And then my mom put me in dance. So I was in dance classes since I was 7.
Wow.
And I would go through the year, I would learn my ballet, my tap, my jazz, and then at the end of the year, I'd be like, okay, mom, that's great and all, but I don't want to go back. Don't send me back. And she's like, okay, okay. And the next year comes around, I'm inside again. She sent me back. Didn't care that I wanted to quit at all. And I just think when you're starting something new, it's challenging. You're learning the foundations, and it's not really as enjoyable yet. Like
Yeah.
learning the discipline. And so then again, I say, okay, I did another year, got it. Like I'm ready to quit now, and
Yeah.
send me back. And then it was like maybe 3 years until I really started to understand dance. I was getting better at it, and I was enjoying it. So
Nice.
knowing that and her pushing me to continue even when I wanted to quit has gotten me to a point where now I understand that even when things are hard and it's the beginning, just like chill, learn,
Yeah.
takes time, and then only until like later can you really enjoy it and like feel the passion behind what you're doing. So even for like the health coaching right now, it's new to me. There's
Yeah.
challenges I'm coming across, but I'm not giving up. Like I'm here to
Good.
keep
Yeah.
pushing, figure it out because I know it's gonna pay off.
Good. I'm glad that you didn't give up dance either because you are the bomb.com. So imagine like who you would be had you not continued on with dance and had your mom not pushed you. I actually have a similar story. My mom's on the live right now. And when I was much younger, she was so big on me like playing tennis. She told me like, Taylor, just try it. And if you like it, great, but at least try it. And then we just kept going out and playing. And now it's something that like I long for when I'm not with the kids or, with my husband. I'm like, I just want to go play tennis because it's one of those things like at least give it a try, stick with it and see. Maybe in the future you won't want it, but just learning that discipline early on goes a long way.
I said that today, like when he's in karate and he's overwhelmed with like give it some time, practice, and
Yeah.
then a couple weeks he's like, I got it and I know it. And
Exactly.
that's
Exactly. That's awesome. Do you feel like there was like any influence from your childhood? I know you talk about dance, but do you feel like there's a connection from you dancing to now you being a holistic plant-based coach? Like, do you feel like there's any connection to that, or is there something else that maybe influenced you being where you are today in this role?
So from my childhood, yes. I grew up watching my mom, and I think she jumped onto my grandma, my aunt, my mom's friends. They were all struggling with weight, and they were always on some type of diet. For some, they lose weight, and then they try another. Oh, did I lose you?
Yeah, I think I'm good. Sorry, I was adjusting my screen because I could barely see you. So I was trying to turn up my, like at night, I dim my screen. So I'm like, I need to turn it up now, but continue. So they were your parents and your grandmother, you said they were always struggling.
A lot of the women in my life were struggling with weight, always on a diet. They were doing the whole dieting cycle, and it would never have long-term results, and they weren't healthy. And as a child, this was normal to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, when you get older, you diet, whatever. And then as I got older, like I got into that cycle where I was now dieting because, you know, as you get older, your body changes and you can't just eat the same way you used to. And then you're like, you start dieting. And it wasn't until later that I discovered the plant-based lifestyle. And I'm like, this is amazing. I was able to end dieting completely. It changed my life. It was just weight, better energy, better health in general. And I just wanted other people to know that. And it wasn't so simple to just tell people, here, there's a plant-based diet, do it. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
I know how to coach them through it. And I really wanted to be able to do that. So that's the connection in my childhood for sure.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. How do you feel? And I know I sent you a few questions, but how do you feel like dance has tied into the nutrition part for you? And I know this wasn't a question, so I'm sorry, but when you were talking, I just had to ask, like, how do you connect the two?
Yeah, there's a huge connection. Dancing in the dance industry, the entertainment industry, especially, there's a lot of pressure on your appearance, like to look a certain way. And I personally got into the toxic mindset and the dieting cycle to just keep my body like always slim,
Mm-hmm.
to look a certain way. And then other women around me were doing it too. Like there were girls starving themselves.
Oh
Some
my gosh.
think there was all these different methods they would do to lose weight. I'm not going to name them all because I don't want to give people ideas. But
Yeah. I'm like, please don't name them all.
and yeah, it was that people didn't know
Okay.
it was normal. Like, nobody was addressing it. They would just come into rehearsals like, okay, you girls need to lose weight before the show, stuff like that, and it's not right. I just wish girls knew how to eat sustainably, and then they could just go on about their life, not freaking out about it, and not stressing
Yeah.
out their appearance, but then eat in a way that also promotes their ideal health and their ideal weight.
I love that. I love that. So, yeah, I think that makes perfect sense because I think even if you're not a dancer, right, we all feel that pressure because what we see is slim and trim and well put together all the time. Like that's what we're seeing. That's like what sells. So of course we're gonna go and buy it. But I think you bring up so many great points. And thinking about that, another off script question, but I have to ask. So how did you actually like what led you to the plant-based lifestyle? Like do you remember one person talking to you about it and then that's what sort of pulled you into the lifestyle and sort of helped you break the habits of the dancer lifestyle of trying to like keep up with what everybody else was doing to stay slim? Like do you remember one person or
So I went to school for nutrition. I
oh, okay.
degree. But what I learned in college wasn't exactly what I promote today. It didn't
Hmm.
really me. It's the stuff like the nutrition pyramid and all that.
Yeah.
And I graduated from college. I was like, okay, well, I don't feel like I got what I wanted with that.
Yeah.
So immediately I went to Barnes and Nobles and I went to the health food section and I was just looking and I saw this book. It said End of Dieting by Joel Furman. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I haven't heard of it.
It's amazing. And I just saw that book and I picked it up. I started going through it. I'm like, this is the book that I needed. So I bought it, I read it all, and it immediately changed my life. Like that was the book that I needed to read.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll put that in the chat while you keep chatting, Amanda.
Yeah, so it definitely talks about a whole food plant-based lifestyle. He calls it nutritarian. So instead of vegetarian or vegan, it's more about eating food for how nutrient rich it is. How can it serve your body? Instead of
Oh,
calories, you're looking at it for how nutrient dense.
I love that. Thanks.
Life change.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna check that out. My husband just put it in the chat too. Thanks, babes. End of dieting. Okay, awesome. So, okay, leading into today, what sort of got you on this path? So you learned it for yourself, but what made you want to start inspiring other women and people to choose a plant-based lifestyle? And specifically, one thing that stands out is the holistic part because we see a lot of plant-based coaches on Instagram, but you have the holistic aspect as well. So, how does that all tie in and what sort of put you on this path to want to encourage others?
So I was always passionate about nutrition and health. And as I said, I went to school for that. But by the time I graduated, I was also already starting to dance professionally. So I was balancing school with dance. And by the time I graduated, I had to choose. I couldn't do nutrition and still dance. Like it had to
Mm,
be together at that point in my head. So I chose dance. I'll get back to the nutrition world later. I don't know when or how, but I'm gonna do it. So I just got into the dance world, and when quarantine hit was when I finally was like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity for me to figure out how I'm gonna do it. And so far, still in my head, I had to be a registered dietitian. Like that was the only way I knew I could serve as a nutritionist.
yeah.
And then I learned about health coaching. I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to like have freedom, flexibility, and then still dance. Like I'm in control of what I teach because as a
Yeah,
dietitian, I think you're teaching what they tell you.
exactly.
So
No, that's great.
yeah, and then like from everything I learned in the dance industry and how nutrition affected women, and okay, let me get back to me and the holistic part actually.
Yeah, tell me.
So I could do all the diets. I could be in the best shape of my life. I could be doing like the hardest workouts, looking great, and still be unhappy.
Yeah,
I still find things to pick apart about myself. And I knew that it's more than just what we eat. And I've seen so many beautiful women out there looking great and they're still unhappy too. So
yeah.
the first step is learning to accept yourself, all the imperfection, the perfect imperfections about you. And then once you can do that, then let's figure out how to eat and how to tackle our health.
So, okay, practical ways that people can actually love themselves because I do feel like we all say we give this big elephant to someone and say, "Hey, eat this elephant, love yourself." How can we practically do it? Because I've and I know you'll be able to answer this because I've seen you actually post about this. So, what do you do for yourself that helps you to really practice loving yourself?
Yeah, well, it definitely got to a point where I was like, I noticed how much I was criticizing myself, and I'm like, this has to figure this out because nothing I do, like, I'm always gonna. And I have my whole like breast removal implant story somewhere on my Instagram.
I haven't seen that.
So yeah, well, I got breast implants. It was just part of the norm of my entertainment industry. I just thought it was like that's what girls do. I had a baby, then I got implants. So, but
Yeah.
I like okay, now I have like these implants, and I'm still not happy with myself. Like I still am finding things wrong. So I started looking into getting them removed, and I started reading other women's stories, and I actually came across a whole new world of like breast implant illness. So that's like a whole
Wow.
thing that I do want people to know about. Um, and it's not healthy for your body, and then it's not healthy for your mind because you think you're trying to fix yourself, and then
Yep.
you're still finding things wrong. So even now, especially after removing them, that was a whole nother like transformation because now I had to like accept my body now the way it is after the removal.
Yeah.
And it was just like a light bulb clicked where I'm like, I just need to like accept myself the way I am. There's no more changing. Like I can't keep trying to like fix things.
Yeah.
So then I started learning like self-love techniques. Meditation's a huge one. There's some out there that just like helps you value your body. You need to understand that it's serving you, and we just keep feeding it negativity sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's here to like fight for us and keep us alive, and we need to like give it more respect for.
I am so impressed with your story around like the breast implant removal. And I think one practical thing that I gleaned from you sharing that is sometimes we do the work to change ourselves, but sometimes we have to undo the work that we did to
Yeah.
try and change ourselves. And I think that's a practical way to reverse that. And for you to go and get them removed, I'm just like clapping all around for you because that took a lot of like bravery, but also money. Like I know it costs money to do that. And so I think sometimes it's just backtracking, right? Everybody in the chat is saying it's so amazing because you don't hear those stories. You just hear people saying like, I feel so beautiful and I went and I did these things, and they stand by these like toxic decisions. I think we both can say that that was a toxic decision for you. And you said it yourself when you said like it's toxic to your body. So I think it's just amazing that you went back and sort of like
Yeah,
made your wrongs right, you know?
how I was originally like, and unlearn all the toxic thoughts that
Yeah.
just come back to like grounding myself.
I'm so impressed by that. Like sometimes it takes the action to change our mindset. And so if any of you out there are trying to figure out how to really like embrace yourself and love yourself, just go back, like retrace, like Amanda did, like retrace the areas where you maybe were doing things toxic to yourself and try and, I mean, we can't undo the past, but in your case, you
Yeah,
were able to kind of undo your past. So I guess who would you say has been the most influential in your journey, like thus far?
I definitely, parents, you know, my mom and dad. Not only did they bring me to America for opportunities, which I definitely,
Yeah.
but they instilled a lot of standards and morals into me that I have today. And without them, I don't know who I would be.
Yeah.
You know, I'd probably be a mess. But they gave me freedom to make mistakes, which was important. Like if I would tell them I'm gonna go do something, they'd be like, okay.
I see it on your face, like, yeah, good luck.
But it's the falling and it's the getting up and learning that gets you to grow. You
Yeah,
know, they didn't try and protect me too much, which was very important.
I
And
love that.
they definitely gave me like a lot of standards to live by.
Do you feel like you're similar with your son? Like now you kind of are focused on letting him make those mistakes. I know he's fairly young, right?
Yeah,
So
yes, I am. I feel like I'm trying to give the same values that my mom gave me for sure.
that's
Hmm.
awesome. Cool. So you know this series is all about being fueled by faith and not by fear. So how did you like what risks would you say you've had to take so that you could overcome the fears of failure?
I think the biggest risk, and it wasn't really one by choice. I moved to LA in 2012 to pursue dance. Okay, I'm a dancer now. Got there in January, and at the time I had my relationship. And while I was there, I became pregnant. So I was pregnant now with my son, and I decided, okay, well, I'm gonna move back to Miami now. I had plans to come to LA and become a dancer, but God clearly had different plans for me. And never did I question it. I just said, okay, this is what I wanted, but I know you have bigger plan that I need to like listen to. I'm gonna go back to Miami. I'll have my family who can support me and help out
Yeah.
and figure it out. I'll just figure it out. I wasn't scared. I just knew that this is what I had to do, and I was just gonna push and work. And I felt like things were gonna come together, and that's what happened. I
Yeah,
just
I mean, things definitely came together for you. So I'm glad that you moved back to Miami. And honestly, I mean, you didn't have, I know it was a hard choice, but I mean, LA or Miami, they're both so beautiful. It's like you're choosing one beauty over the other in a
love
sense.
Miami.
Yeah. I really like Miami too. The city is like beautiful and I love like the strip with all the shopping. So I think you're in a great place.
Yeah, and luckily there was a dance scene here,
Okay, awesome.
which is awesome.
That's amazing. So thinking about motherhood, how do you balance like your dance life, your online community, and then also just self-care and self-love? Like, how are you balancing all of that? I've actually seen your son working out with you and like you guys doing a lot of things. So you appear to be like a wonderful mother from what I mean, I'm not with you every day. We all have our moments, right? But I think you're a great mom from what I can see. So how do you balance that, like with being online and dancing and being a mom?
It's not easy balancing all three, motherhood with work, especially like all moms can relate to that. And then now, so mom, dance, and a health coach. It's still something I'm figuring out.
Yeah.
I conscious effort not to spread myself too thin because then I'll just get paralyzed. I'll be overworked and I'll give up. So I make sure that I'm like taking everything at a slow pace, not trying to overwork myself. So like especially as a mom, I I would put my son in an after school activity just so I know he's there,
He's
he's
good.
engaged, and then I can also have more time to work on my business and work at the same time and not feel guilty that he's home just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Especially now for summer, I have the freedom to keep him home, but I want him to be engaged with other kids doing activities. So I'm putting him for a couple weeks in a camp,
I
and then
love that.
that time I'll be focusing on my business.
I love that. Yeah. I think that's good. That's a good way to like balance it all so that it's not overwhelming for you and he's not just sitting there waiting like, Mom, what are we doing next? And you're like, what are you doing next? So good for you. I know you have a holistic health challenge as well. I've seen it. I haven't signed up yet, but I'm planning on it soon. It's on my list. Like, it's so hard to want to support everybody that you love online, but you're on my list, Amanda. So can you tell people about your holistic health challenge? What is it? And then how can they get plugged in so that they can join that?
Yeah, so it's my Be Holistic Health 28-day reset. It's 28 days of whole food, plant-based eating, and it really is the perfect opportunity to reset, detox, and optimize your health. So learn healthier choices, learn new ways of eating that you weren't so familiar with, and it's only 28 days, so you don't have to be like, oh, I'm plant-based now and never again. So it's just 28 days. You just got to give it. And people have had amazing results who've done it. They've had clearer skin, better gut health, more energy, weight loss. One of the men who did my challenge, he was able to get off his blood pressure lowering medications too.
Wow.
And then also a lot of the people who did it said their cravings changed. They didn't crave meat as much as they thought they would.
Yeah,
New recipes that they never tried before.
that's cool. And you came up with those recipes, right?
Yeah, so I created all the pages in the book, but I definitely looked online for recipe ideas, and then I would like change them up a little bit. So
That's awesome.
I wouldn't say I'm like a chef or anything.
I swear, once you go like plant-based or vegan, I feel like everybody becomes a chef because you have to rethink everything that you knew before because we all grew up on meat, I would say. So, did you grow up actually eating meat?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So we all pretty much grew up on meat. So like once you go plant-based, it's almost like, oh my gosh, like what do I do now? Because it changes everything. Even when you go to like a local restaurant, you're like, I mean, here we don't have, I'm in Cincinnati and Ohio, and we don't have tons of like vegan restaurants. So it's like we're cooking a lot. Like most of our food is cooked at home.
especially in restaurants. Like now, I'll try and talk to the chef, or I'll tell the waitress, talk to the chef, like create something for me. I know you have like mushrooms and onions, and I know you have rice and beans. You just
Yep.
do it. Definitely, like people should be aware.
I love that. So we actually had a question in the chat. I figure I might as well throw it in now. What's a recommendation for someone to incorporate new food items or healthier eating habits and routines if they don't want to completely change their current eating lifestyle to a plant-based or vegan like vegetarian lifestyle? So what would you recommend? And I'll chime in here after you answer from your perspective.
So what I would recommend is making weekly changes and not so much things, but add. And I would start with adding veggies. So pick week one, for example. I'm gonna eat what you're eating now. Just add greens. So if it's breakfast, how can you add some spinach? You throw it in your omelet. Now it's do a big salad, or you throw a bunch of kale, or a snack. You do like kale chips, something like that. So right now, adding. Okay, I'm gonna eat more beans. Same thing. How can I incorporate more beans? And then slowly you notice your plate is transforming. You
I
know?
love that.
So that's how I recommend.
I love that. I've heard a lot of people share similar feedback. Can you guys still hear me okay?
I hear you.
I took my AirPods out because they were just like, you were breaking up in and out, and that's no way to do an interview. But yeah, I mean, I definitely feel the same way, like adding more so then you don't feel like you're deprived of anything. And then also just like trying new foods, like being open to trying it. If you don't like it, you're not going to die, right? Just try it. If you hate it, it's okay. And then one thing that we found like 7 months ago now when we decided on plant-based living is just making sure that if we tried something when we first started out, it doesn't mean that we don't like it today, right? 7 months later, we might actually like it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, because your palate changes.
So when I first changed my eating style to plant-based, it was in 2014, and I didn't immediately just cut out fish, meat, and everything. What I did, the vegetarian approach that I told you about in the book, and when I started, he has a thing, it's called G-bomb. So it's greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds. So like those are the things you want to eat every day if possible. Those, like, that's ideal. So I just started adding more wholesome, nutrient-rich foods to my meals, and then slowly my cravings just started changing. And I just didn't crave meat as much, and then it just slowly my plate. And then eventually fish too, which I thought I could never give up. Hey, I'm not enjoying it as much anymore.
Yep.
And that's how it happened for me. So it doesn't have to be all at once. Just take your time.
Yep. The other thing too, I've seen people talking about like meatless Mondays. Like that's a great opportunity for you to think about like a fresh veggie salad to take the place of your meat. And just on Mondays, try not eating meat and try replacing it with maybe something like we love tofu. I know people, it's a weird thing where like some people want to eat tofu, some people are afraid of it because of the estrogen, but like we've loved it. It's been so delicious, and we've found different ways. Like I got a tofu press for my birthday. John got me one, and like that thing has changed the game. Like I sometimes when I'm eating my pressed tofu, it's totally different than just eating tofu out of the pack or just pressing it with your hand or a paper towel. Like the tofu press makes me feel like I'm eating gourmet steak, you guys. So you just have to keep trying and like tweak recipes.
Definitely. And the thing with tofu, if anyone's out there listening, estrogen is really not the main concern. It's a phytoestrogen in there. So it can bring down your estrogen levels where it needs to, and it can raise it where it needs to. So, you know, people in Japan and China, they're eating a bunch of tofu. They're not out there suffering with breast cancer. So just food for thought. I think estrogen, the issues in dairy, if anything, cheese. So
yeah, keep going. Tell everybody, tell the people, Amanda, you're the nutritionist, right? So that's important though. And I feel like I trust you more because you actually did study nutrition. So yeah, that's good. Okay.
sure.
That's awesome. So I know you also have an ebook, and that's separate from your 28-day reset. So
Same.
it is the same? Okay, so I guess going back to that, how difficult was it? I don't know why I thought it was separate. Sorry about that. But how difficult was it to launch that content? Just going back to that, like, was it challenging to pull together all the content? Like, what did that process look like for you?
So while I was doing my health coaching certification and I was learning even more about whole food, plant-based eating, I was like, this is amazing. People need to try this out. And I would just tell my parents a lot. I would tell my dad, come on, you got to try this. Like, let's not eat meat, all these other stuff. And he's like, okay, yeah, whatever. I challenge you to 28 days. We're going to eat like this. And the minute I said challenge, he was like, I said challenge. And because I gave him like a timeline.
Yeah.
So this worked. So I'm going to try with other people. So, you know, a day came, I announced it on my Instagram, my story, and I said, we're going to start today. Let me know if you want to sign up. So people, and it was free. People told me, they DM'd me, I wrote down a list of who's joining, and then on a specific day we started, and I promised them I'd send them recipes every day. I didn't have anything at that point. I just said, I'll send you recipes every day. But so every day I would wake up, and now I was committed to creating these recipes. I would send it out to them. And at the end, I had 28 plus recipes now, all created in format. And I put them all together in one file. And I'm like, look, I have like a little book.
I love that.
So then I'm like, okay, let me add to it all the rules, like everything, like the grocery list. There's a full ebook. So on my Instagram, there's the free one, but I do have one that's like $7.
Oh.
But there's a budget-friendly grocery list. There's a supplement guide as well. And then it just tells you all the foods you need to buy, what your meals will be looking like, things to incorporate. So it's just a little bit more guidance and tools that you'll need to get through it successfully.
I love that. I'm going to buy your ebook today. You have my word. So I will go. I will buy your ebook. Even if I don't read it right away, I'm going to buy it just so I have it and it's ready to go and I'm ready to read it when I have a little bit of time. So that's amazing. And I think it's a testament to, like, again, you stepping out on faith and just taking a risk and saying, hey, who wants to sign up? And sometimes I feel like you get the steps along the way, right? Like committing externally in front of your audience, like, hey, I'm doing this 28-day challenge, I'll send you a recipe. Just overcommitting sometimes can also be a blessing because you're telling people I'm going to do it. So then you have to hold yourself to that. And now you wake up and you have a full ebook and you're talking to me about it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. So shifting gears as we like kind of wrap up, that time went by so fast. I'm going to be like calling you now every week just to ask you a million questions. But so are there any big projects that you're working on that you need support with or that you want people to know about?
So I do have my Be Holistic Health program that I launched recently, and I have a couple girls in there right now that I'm working with. But I'm working on refining it, working on my website a little bit more. So I took it down at the moment because I want it to have the most impact, people to relate to it the most, and I do want to reach a wider audience eventually. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm working on, and it's the Be Holistic Health program. It's for women. I help them discover their sexiest, healthiest, and most confident selves without restrictive and obsessive behaviors. And I do, as you know, use self-love, fitness, and plant-based eating.
That's awesome.
Project I'm working on, and hopefully in the near future it's known worldwide as the go-to plan for all women to like just end dieting, transform their mind, and just feel good about themselves.
I love that. What can people like look forward to do? Like, is it them just checking in? Like, what does it look like? I know you can't give the whole thing because that's like the recipe, but can you give like a teaser so people know like what to look forward to in that group?
We do a group coaching call once a week, and there we'll discuss like their goals for the week and changes that they can do. Cool that we're all together because you feel like you're in a little community.
Yeah.
But they're struggling with, so that's the group part of it is awesome. And then all day long, I encourage them to send me what they're eating, whether it's or not. Just send me a picture of what they're eating, so there's accountability there, and then I can shine on, that could you get out of this, try this, stuff like that.
I love that. And is that a free coaching group?
No, that's not gonna be. That's not.
I'm like, I couldn't imagine you're getting Amanda like 24/7. So
yeah, no. And then there is a fitness program in there too. It's for a week. It's 3 days a week, 30-minute long workouts I have.
Oh, that's great.
Some self-love audios and stuff like that. So no, it's not free. It's going to be a high ticket program.
Hey, but that's good. I mean, we have to invest in ourselves. So if any of you ladies are out there and you're thinking about Amanda's program, like, we have to invest in ourselves. And I think it's good that you put a price tag on that, because you really can't put a price tag on your self-care and your health anyway. So
if it's not me working for free, it's people won't commit if it's free. Like $, they'll be like, okay, and then they just won't show up. If you pay money and like you're like, okay, I'm investing, you're gonna do it.
It's true. It's so true. No, that's a good point. So real quick, what is your favorite quote or mantra that you live by, if you have one?
Let me see if I have it right in my head. Yeah, I think I have this right. A negative mind will never lead to a positive life. That's my biggest. In any situation, as negative as it may seem, I always try and be optimistic about it. I try, if there's one bad thing I could think of, I'll try and think of 5 good things that will come out of this negative experience. So that's my motto for sure.
What was it again? A negative mind will never lead to a positive life. Is that right?
Yeah.
I love that. So after this interview, I will be putting all of the details of my time with Amanda on my blog, thetaylorisms.org. And I'll have that quote there. So if anybody wants to like write it on their vision board, I love vision boards. I do them every year. So if anybody wants to put that on their vision board, it will be, all of those notes will be in there. And I'll just end with this. Amanda, I appreciate you. I thank you for coming on. Can you just share real quick with people how they can connect with you, how you're best able to be reached? I'm imagining Instagram's part of that. So is there anything else that people should know about how they can connect with you?
Yeah, so the link in my bio on Instagram, it's for the book, but it will take you to my Facebook community. It's a free Facebook community where there's other like-minded individuals who have the same goals, and there we can communicate. Also, I have my YouTube channel. You can go subscribe and wait for my next video. So that's it for now. My website, I'm restructuring it, and it'll be up again soon.
Awesome. Well, I thank you. I appreciate you. I love what you're doing. And seriously, thank you for coming on. I just learned so much from you just in this brief moment in time, just us, 36 minutes, and I learned a lot. And thank you to everybody in the chat. We didn't really have tons of time for, question and answers, but if you guys have questions, please connect with Amanda. Go and follow her. She's amazing, and I appreciate you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for this.
Thanks. I'll see you soon. Hopefully I'll see you on live. You'll start doing lives.
Keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.